So I wanted to make a video about why I am shifting over completely from GoPro cameras to Insta360 cameras. So I'm going to go through some of my thoughts in this video and give you my reasons for changing over completely. Just give you a bit of a comparison between the two, what my journey's been like with GoPro and now Insta360, as well as the reasons why I'm changing over. So it's probably first pointing out what cameras I've used in the past. The last main GoPro I had was a GoPro Hero 9. I suppose more recently I've been using the 360 camera, which is the Max, or had been using that now for the last few years. Really do like 360 content and just the aspect ratio and the footage you're able to capture with the 360 camera. And that kind of opened me up to the world of capturing stuff in 360. A little bit confusing to start with, but GoPro, since I started my mountain bike journey and my YouTube channel, has always been shot with GoPro cameras because GoPro have been the leader in the market for so long now. Like, I think they're now on the 11th iteration of this camera, which is crazy. And I have actually owned a fair few of their cameras right through from like one of the first ever Heroes, which is crazy to look back on the footage and then look at how much more advanced it is now. But since mid last year, I actually got invited to help create the launch video for Insta360. So they were launching this brand new camera, which is the X3. And I went out to France to find some cool mountain bike spots to film some footage that would potentially go in their launch video, as well as putting a launch video on my YouTube channel, which kind of went quite well. I didn't really know what to think of the camera to start with, mainly because of the shape of it. I mean, there's a selfie stick on there, but take it off and compare it to the GoPro. It's a very different shape to other action cameras. The GoPro Max, you could say, is a little bit more compact and fits in more useful places, whereas the Insta360 is a bit longer and slimmer, but it does fit in your hand like a lot better. So that was kind of like the first hurdle for me to get over, the shape. I was going to have to get a little bit more creative with how I use the camera, because usually mountain biking I would mount my camera to my helmet or to my chest. Sometimes just because of the size of this, it didn't really work out too well, or I would have to improvise and make different mounts and stuff for it to work properly and not like pull my helmet down and pull me in some real weird angles and positions. After using this camera now for the past 6 months solely, I can say that I'm happy now to move over completely to Insta360 cameras. This is my main camera now and has been for like the last, well, since it came out really. So I don't want this video to be like a direct comparison between a Max and an X3. I just want to give my thoughts on why I've changed over. So the video quality on both these cameras is excellent. I do think the X3 has a slight edge if you understand how to edit the videos properly. A lot of people, when they post videos on social media, on YouTube, Instagram, whatever, and they're frustrated because they can't figure out why their videos are pixelated or not high quality, as the camera suggests it can shoot at really high quality, it's because of your export settings. It took me a while to understand that and figure out export settings that work for these cameras so I could actually upload my footage to social media and YouTube in the highest quality possible. But previous to that, I just struggled and flailed around with different things. So that was a kind of a big learning curve for me, and that was another reason why I am sold on these cameras, because the editing workflow and the app that you get access to with Insta360 I think is way better than GoPro's Player. It gives you access to more features for one, but it's also way simpler to use for beginners. So if you are just getting a 360 camera to start with, the actual user interface of the desktop studio for the computer is really simple to use, yet it's got enough features in there for any advanced filmmaker to create kick-ass videos. But for a beginner, it's not too overwhelming. Like if you go into some other editing softwares like DaVinci or Premiere Pro, you will be quickly overwhelmed if you don't know what you're doing, because they are very confusing and there's so many tools in there. It's very overwhelming. Whereas this app and the mobile app you get access to is really simple, and it's really fast to create little videos as well, which is what I really did like about Insta360's cameras and apps. Whereas GoPro, yes, it works. I prefer the mobile editing app over the desktop app for this. You obviously get more control on the desktop. I find the desktop app for editing 360 footage, GoPro Player, is fairly clunky and it's a little bit outdated. I think it needs to be updated. Whereas Insta360, I feel, have made some major jumps in how they go about things and what you're able to do, which has really made the user experience like the best it can be. Every camera has its flaws, so I'm not coming on here and saying that Insta360 is the best camera right now. They both have their pros and cons. I'm just more leaning towards the Insta360 X3 camera because it's become my go-to camera, and I've become so in tune to how to edit my footage and how to color grade it properly, that I feel that is a fit for my brand and my YouTube channel. I also love the color naturally out of the camera. I've done videos on this channel about setting up with a camera and how to get the most out of it. The color that naturally comes out of this camera is, I think, really, really good. You can obviously shoot on log footage, so you can shoot in a flat color profile, so you can edit later and get really customized with things. If you select the vivid color profile on these cameras, it comes out super colorful. All the highlights and the shadows are in check. Everything looks really nice and as it should be for a bit of video camera footage. These cameras will get better as years come on. Like, for instance, both these cameras, they don't have detachable lenses, which is a frustrating thing, because if you scratch the lenses, you essentially can't replace the lens, you have to replace the whole camera, which is a nightmare. Whereas on the non-360 cameras, they have like lens protector covers, and they're, you know, fairly scratch resistant, and your footage will always look really good. But for the aspect ratio I want, you need a 360 camera. And hopefully in the future they come up with some like better glass that is more scratch resistant, and we can just continue creating really cool content without having to worry about dropping cameras or lenses or anything like that, especially when we're doing action sports outside or anything where there is potential to drop or damage the camera. The cost between these two pieces of equipment are fairly similar. I think the Insta360 X3 camera is slightly more expensive, mainly because it's a newer camera. The GoPro Max has been around for a while now, and I wouldn't be surprised if GoPro do bring out a brand new Max 2 camera or something like that, which will be Insta360 X3's direct competitor. So that will be interesting to see what the rest of the year holds for that. For now though, I'm sticking with my guns and just wholeheartedly I've jumped in with both feet, and I'm sticking with my Insta360 X3 camera because I think it's absolutely an awesome piece of kit. I'm fully sold on the functions of the camera, the capabilities of it, the editing, the whole workflow is really good. It's only going to get better, and Insta360 seems to have pumped in a lot of effort, time and money into getting this camera to where it is, and I can only suspect it's going to get better as the years go on with new iterations of the camera, new firmware updates and everything in between. They're kind of like the main reasons why I'm switching over from GoPro to Insta360. You may be different, you may be a GoPro fanatic as I was, and it did actually take me a little bit of time to fully transition over. Like, there were times when I would use both cameras and be like, I don't want to let go of the whole GoPro thing because they're still really good cameras, but I feel Insta360 are going in a direction where GoPro have not ventured yet, and I think Insta360 will start becoming market leaders if they're not already a market leader by you've watched this. But I hope this video was useful and give you some insight into what I'm thinking between the two cameras, and maybe if you're looking to buy a new camera, this has helped you make the buying decision easier. I've put links in the description below to go and grab an X3 camera if it's useful. Get any questions on these cameras, pop them in the comments and I'll answer them, or I'll make a video for you. Catch you in the next video. See you later.